Good evening. Hello, Sydney. How are you? Good. My name is David KWONG. I am a magician and a puzzle maker. I write crossword puzzles for the New York Times. I've basically taken the world's nerdiest hobbies and combined them into one career. And that's because I think that magic and puzzles are the same thing. I think that all magic tricks are puzzles, in a way, right? They test your ability to solve things. They challenge your mind to figure out what the solution could possibly be. And as an extension of that, I, as a magician, do not pretend in any way to have superpowers. Most magicians do, whether it's a birthday party magician or your mentalist or mind reader, they're pretending in some fashion to be imbued with secret and special powers, divine powers. But I profess that it's all science. It's the science of illusion. It's the science of being 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of your audience. And tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that science. And actually, I wrote a book that'll come out in May. It's on the principles of illusion. It will be called Spellbound: 7 Principles of Illusion to Captivate Audiences and Unlock the Secrets of Success. And tonight I'm going to talk about one of those principles of illusion. And it starts with a story. It starts with a story in Hollywood about Edgar Wright. And Edgar Wright is a director who asked me if I could teach him how a magician thinks. Now, you probably know Edgar from his films, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He also co-wrote the script for Tintin. He's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. And Edgar invited me over to his house to teach him how to get 1 step, 2 steps ahead of somebody else. So I grabbed my friend Blake Voigt, who is probably the most brilliant magician and engineer I've ever met, and together we went over to Edgar's house to teach him how a magician thinks. The afternoon did not get off to a great start. We showed up 15 minutes late, apologizing profusely because we couldn't find the house. But we're magicians, we started entertaining, and once we were doing sleight of hand, Edgar was fine. And when we finished, he turned to us and he said, "Can you do one more?" And we said, we just did all our best stuff, but I think we could probably come up with one more trick. So I said, "Edgar, do you have a driveway, like an outdoor space that we could go into?" And he said, "Well, I have a backyard. Let's go back there." And I said, "Okay, let's go." So we went out through the kitchen into the backyard, and there I turned to Edgar and I said, "Name any playing card." And my friend Blake, I asked Edgar to name any number, right? Ace through king. And then I said to Blake said to him, "Name any suit." So Edgar ended up choosing the 5 of hearts. I said, "Edgar, point anywhere you want in the yard." And Edgar ended up pointing at about 2 o'clock from where we were standing. And we walked over to a row of bushes, and I had Edgar get down and dig in the dirt, in the mulch at the base of the bushes, and there he pulled up the 5 of hearts. Of course, Edgar's mind was blown, and he turned to us and he said, "How did you do it?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you, because I promised you I would teach you how a magician thinks." And so I pulled out my iPad and I played him this video, and it is of me and Blake burying 52 playing cards in Edgar's backyard. There in the background, he's burying playing cards. We're here at Edgar Wright's house an hour before the meeting to set up for something really cool. We're meeting with a cast member. So you get the idea. We were able to get into his backyard and get 52 steps ahead of Edgar Wright. So this is how magic works, ladies and gentlemen. It's not smoke and mirrors, it's not dancing girls, it's forethought, it's anticipation, and it's planning. And as a puzzler, in addition to being a magician, I think that illusion is this beautiful intersection of cleverly engineered ruses and misdirection. So I'm going to teach you about a principle of illusion. I promised you that. And that is called the illusion of free choice. Now, before you call the magic police, this is a principle only. This is not a technical secret. I'm not out to ruin anyone's magic show. But here is what the illusion of free choice is. If you can get your audience believing that they are dictating how a trick goes, they will buy into the illusion more. It's as simple as that. Now, Blake and I did not make this up. It's all around us. Think about this. How about a time you were at work and you had a great idea? In order to convince your boss to go ahead with the idea, you convinced her it was her idea to begin with. Or if you're able to convince your client to buy whatever product or program you're offering, you're much more successful than if you were to strong-arm your client through a hard sell. And your client will be more emotionally invested in the idea and will take ownership over the outcome. And this is the power of choice. Let's talk about the science of this. There was an experiment in 2000 by two French scientists, Alexandre Pascal and Nicolas Guéguin, and they did the following experiment. They had a young man go into a shopping mall and approach people and ask them for change for the bus. He simply said, "May I have change for the bus?" And only about 10% of the people that young man approached gave him money. But then he took a second set of people and had the exact same plea, "May I please have change for the bus?" but this time added the following phrase, "But you are free to accept or refuse." And his success jumped to 47.5%. That's nearly a 5% increase just because of the mere suggestion of free will. That's how much we as human beings need to be able to choose things. And what's more, the people that did accept and were told that they were free to accept or refuse ended up being more generous and gave twice as much. So when you're faced with choice, you are more cooperative, more obliging, and you participate more. And magicians know this. There's another extension of this called the choice support bias, and that's the idea that we take ownership over the ideas that we have discovered. We will fight and we will defend them, things that we have come up with or we have discovered. And even if we know that your ideas are not as good as somebody else's ideas, all right? I'm going to give you an example of this from history. World War II. Here's the date, April 30th, 1943. A body is found floating face down in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Huelva, Spain. This body is in military khakis, held afloat by a life preserver, and has handcuffed to his wrist a locked briefcase. Inspection of the corpse's wallet reveals that this was a man named Major William Martin of the British Navy. But here's the thing. William Martin was an illusion, completely conjured up by a hush-hush secret organization, part of the M17M unit of the British Secret Wartime Service. And this was an elaborate ruse called Operation Mincemeat. That's actually what it was called. And they went to great lengths, Operation Mincemeat, to convince the people that found this body that it was a real person. They used a real corpse, of course. They even had a death notice printed in the Evening Times, and they had in his wallet also a picture of the man's girlfriend. So what they were hoping was that this fisherman, or whoever would find it, would get that briefcase to the Germans, because even though Spain was neutral, they were sympathetic to the German war effort. And they were hoping that that information that was in the briefcase would make its way to the German high command. Here's why. The Germans had suspected for a long time that the Allies were going to invade from their perch in North Africa across the Mediterranean, but they didn't know whether they were going to go to Greece and Sardinia or to the Balkans or to Sicily. And what the Allies did is they planted disinformation in that briefcase, just enough information that the Germans would themselves conclude that the Allies were going to go to Greece and Sardinia, and that's where they fortified their defenses. And that's exactly what the Allies wanted, because they instead invaded Sicily. Sorry, did I miss the date? I'm not sure if I can go back. Well, they invaded on July 10th, 1943. They went to Sicily instead. And that's because the Germans discovered this themselves. And in a sense, what the Allies were choice architects. And what a choice architect is, and this is a term that is coined by Cass Sunstein and Richard Thaler in their book Nudge, is someone who can design the ways to help people make the decisions that they themselves think are better. And by the way, what nudging is a leadership term where a leader knows what is best for people, but wants to put that decision in the hands of his or her followers so that they make that decision themselves. And probably the best example of that is in the cafeteria, in the canteen, putting the healthier food at eye level. It's still up to them to decide, but they will choose the healthier food. And magicians are choice architects as well. This is probably my favorite quote to describe this. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 1950s US president, leadership is the art of getting people to want what must be done. And this is what magicians do. We are able to reorganize the context in which people make decisions. This is how we are choice architects. I'm going to give you a simple card trick example. You can try this at home, okay? If you have somebody pick a card, any card, and you shuffle it into the deck, you can use any method that you want, and you're able to find that card again. If you then take 4 cards and you lay them out in a vertical column on a table, okay? Take your audience's card, the one that you know is the one they chose, and you put it second. You put it second away from them. So there are 4 cards, one closest to them, the second one, which is their card secretly, the third one, and the fourth one, and you say, choose any card. Well, what happens is about 75% of the time, they will choose that second card. And the reason is because the one that's closest to them is too easy. Of course he would want me to choose that one. And then you put the third and the fourth cards just a little too far away from them, so you'll have to get out of your seat ever so slightly to touch those cards. And that is reorganizing the context in which you make decisions. All right? Now, you're probably wondering, isn't illusion inherently lying? Are you manipulating people if you do this? And I understand this. Yes, I think illusion is tied to deception, but I think there are positive ways that you can use these principles to have more command in your own life and stay 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of everybody else. I ask you to use your powers for good once you learn these principles. Ask yourself, how can you be a choice architect? You're the leader. You know it has to be done. You have an idea. You have something you want to sell. How can you reorganize the context in which decisions are made? And here's the thing. You want to give agency and you want to empower the person on the other side of the table to come to a decision themselves and feel good about that and be more emotionally invested. And when this happens, I like to think that everybody wins. Everybody wins. So, back to the card trick that Blake Voigt and I did at Edgar Wright's house. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we were able to buttress the illusion of free choice and really sell this with something that I like to call planned spontaneity. Planned spontaneity. Because magicians will often go way out of their way. They'll spend thousands of hours on something that just takes only 10 seconds to perform. They'll show up at somebody's house and bury 52 cards. We take things to such an extent that people will dismiss them as the possible explanation for the trick. And here's how we were able to use this theory to sell this illusion. We purposely showed up 15 minutes late to that meeting because we wanted to be able to say to Edgar, we couldn't find the house. We'd never been here before. And then when we were doing tricks, we waited for Edgar to ask us to do one last trick. We did not suggest it. We waited for him, at which point we said, we've kind of done all of our best stuff, but we could probably cobble together one more. And then I suggested the driveway as a place that was suitable for this last trick. I let Edgar himself upgrade us to his lovely backyard. Now you're probably wondering, how were we able to get Edgar to point right at the 5 of hearts after he named it? I'm not going to tell you. But I will tell you that we used a lot of suggestion techniques to get him to point right where we wanted him to point. But then here's another thing that we did. In reviewing the trick to Edgar after it happened moments later, we went like this. We pointed wildly. Edgar, you could have pointed anywhere, but you pointed right at your 5 of hearts. And every time I run into Edgar at a cocktail party, I bump into him at a friend's house in Hollywood, and I'm telling the story or I hear him telling the story to somebody else, I always make sure to get in there. Oh yeah, and you could have pointed anywhere. And this is another thing that magicians do, is that we're constantly writing the story. We're sending you home with the memory that we want you to have of what occurred. Now, I thought I would demonstrate here today, since I couldn't have buried 52 cards here in the audience. Well, I could have, but I just flew in this morning from New York, actually. And I have here a pack of playing cards, and I thought that I would make it a little more difficult, and instead of having one card selected, I would have a multiple number of cards selected. So I'm going to come into the audience. Well, I'm not going to come. I'm going to come to the foot of the stage here and have some cards selected. We're going to put this on the screen, I believe, so that you can all see the sleight of hand. Can we do that? Oh, it's up. Oh, great. Thank you. And I'm going to just come forward like this. Can I ask you to come forward and choose a card? All right. I have a number of them selected. Could I have you choose one as well? Thank you. Yep, just take one. And you can hold it up so the people behind you can see as well. I'm going to have all the people, I think, here in the front row come forward and choose cards and hold them up for everybody to see. Would both of you gentlemen like to choose cards? Just one, yeah. Oh, the top card. Okay, that's that guy. All right. Would you like to choose a card? You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to have your mind blown. Oh, the bottom card. All right. I like it. All right, good. Now take a look at that card. Oh, you're also going for the bottom card, the new bottom card. Wow. You can't pull anything over these people. Okay, take a look. Remember your card. Hold it up for everybody to see as well. And I'm going to collect them one at a time. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Come forward and just lay that there. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'll come over on that side. Thank you. All right, everybody hopefully spotted one card. They're invested in the outcome of this. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to make this a little more difficult by mixing up these cards, and then I will complicate them even further by shuffling in some other cards. Now, if you're one of the 8 or 9 people that chose cards, you have one job and one job only, and that is to remember your card. Because if I come to you and you don't remember it, it's like, well, basically the whole trick will suck if that happens, okay? All right, so look, I'm going to take this mix of cards that I first shuffled up, and then I shuffled other cards into it, and I'm very cleanly and very fairly going to throw these into the pack. And if this is difficult to see, oh no, you can see it all right. I will hold them up to eye level in a moment, but you can see I'm not marking any of the cards. I'm not crimping any of the corners. I'm not using a pencil dot to mark the corners. Putting some in the middle, some up near the top and the bottom. Gamblers actually used to mark cards with their own blood. They would cut themselves. It's difficult to accuse someone of cheating if they're bleeding in your card game, but I'm not doing that tonight. All right, I'll stay honest here and shuffle the cards like this, and I'll try to find each and every one of your cards if I can. I'll start all the way over here. Would you tell me the name of your card, and I will try to locate it in the pack here. Okay, the Black Spade Jack. Okay, and you chose a card as well? And what card did you have?
The 5 of hearts.
5. All right. Is that really what you had? You're not changing cards on me? All right, and what did you have?
3 of clubs.
The 3 of clubs, all right. Okay, let's try this. Here we go. I'm going to use a few simple swivel cuts to find the 3 of clubs. Out of the middle should be the first. There's the 3 of clubs. So far, so good. Don't worry, folks. It'll get better. Don't worry about it. All right. So let's see. And what did you have again? 5 of hearts. And what did you have?
4 diamonds.
Okay. Let's see if I can find the 5 of hearts. Should be this card. Yeah, that's the 5 of hearts. That's good. Wow, I'm a little off. I'm a little screwed up. Oh, geez. Okay. I haven't asked you. What did you have? Okay. All right. So let's see. We have the 3 of spades and the 4 of diamonds, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to find 2 cards at once. Now, this is a method from the 19th century. There was a Viennese magician named Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. That was his real name. He is the father of modern card magic, and he would find 2 cards at once using this move that he invented. And here we go for the 3 of spades and the 4 of diamonds. I should be able to get 2 cards out of the deck, and that is the 3 of spades and the 4 of diamonds. Thank you. All right. I found yours. I found yours. Yes. What did you have? Ace of hearts and 3 of diamonds. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can use the 3 of spades and the 4 of diamonds to find the ace of hearts. Watch this. The 3 of spades and the 4 of diamonds together will find 1 card in the pack, just like that. There's 1 card in the middle, and that should be the ace of hearts. Is it? Okay. And what did you have again? I did you. And you? 3 of diamonds. Okay. I will use my sleeve to find the 3 of diamonds. You know magicians use their sleeves, right? But I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to use the inside of my sleeve. Far too pedestrian. I'll use the outside of my sleeve to find the 3 of diamonds. I think you said, right? 3 of diamonds? Here we go. The outside of my sleeve, right here. I'll take the 5 of clubs, I'll rub it on my sleeve, and it should change like that to the 3 of diamonds. All right. So far, so good. I found yours?
I don't yet, no.
No, what was it?
8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds. I should be able to, oh, I'm dropping cards everywhere. That's going to pose a problem here. That might pose a problem for your card, but I will persevere anyway. Here we go. There's 1 card. That is the Jack of Spades, which is not your card at all. Sorry, what was it? 8 of diamonds. I'll just change that to the 8 of diamonds. Oh, now he's getting good, right? Did I hear someone say that was someone else's? That was your card. The Jack of Spades just turned up there. Okay, well, I'll have to come back to that and find it again for you. And what, 2 more cards, right? Okay. 9 of clubs. Actually, I have your card here. In my pocket is also the Jack of Spades. And the 9 of clubs? The 9 of clubs, okay. I'm going to use a move that was invented, I think it was 1902 by Dr. Elliot. Dr. Elliot, and this is called a back palm of a card, I've perhaps said too much already, but let me show you what Dr. Elliot invented. That's the 7 of hearts. And what was it again? 9 of clubs. Here we go. I'll take the 7 of hearts, watch the 7 of hearts, and this is Dr. Elliot's move, just like this, and reappears as the 9 of clubs. All right. I found everyone but the last one, I think, right? And what card did you have? 6 of spades. 6 of spades. Okay, for the last one, I will attempt something a little more acrobatic with the cards here. Not me, with the cards. My goal is to get 1 card after a one-handed swivel cut to fly out of the deck and rotate through the air and spin about 10.5 times, and I'll try to find it here in my right hand. I'll try to catch it. A one-handed swivel cut, 10.5 rotations, and I'll catch it here in my right hand. Now, in truth, I catch this card about 1/3 of the time. So if I do catch it, thunderous applause, please. Here we go. The 6 of spades. I will cut the cards with 1 hand. That's the top pivoting to the bottom. 1 card out of the middle, and I got it. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David KWONG. It was a pleasure speaking for all of you tonight. Thank you.